77% of the salespeople out there have a broken sales process and they don't even know it. Here's why I say that. I recently did a poll on LinkedIn. I asked a very simple question, okay? I said, when should you discuss price for the first time on a sales call? 77% said after the presentation or demo, and this is categorically false and wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone through your presentation, got to the pricing point, went to close, and they said they can't afford it or it's not in the budget? Of course they have, right? That's because you didn't qualify them on price to begin with before you ever did a presentation. Think about that for a second. When you know how to properly qualify a prospect, meaning, what does qualifying mean? First things first, you have to establish, does a problem exist that they want to solve? You have to ask the right questions that engage them and get them to find out if there's a problem there, and yes, they do want to solve it. But what do you do next? Once you find out if there's a problem there that your solution can solve, you need to go ahead and make sure you're speaking to somebody who's part of the decision-making process or the decision maker themselves. Right? Too many salespeople assume somebody's a decision maker based on their title. And let me guess, you also hear, if you assume they're a decision maker and you go for a close, you might hear, I got to check with my boss, right? And now the problem is you're either telling the truth or they're lying. Either way, you're stuck like a deer in headlights. Again, you messed up in the sales qualifying process. But let's say you properly qualify them and they are the decision-making person or part of the decision-making team. That's fine too. And then you also qualify them on their time frame. You have to qualify on time frame once you find out if they're the person that can make a decision or part of the decision-making process. And you can only do that after you establish problem recognition. You see how this works? It's very simple. You pique their interest, get them engaged in a conversation, you establish problem recognition, then you go ahead and you get to their qualifying their role, and then you qualify them on time frame if their role is qualified to get to the time frame question. Got it? The last step in qualifying is you have to qualify them on price. If you don't qualify them on price before you do a presentation or a demo, you're opening the door for them to say it's not in the budget or we can't afford it. And you don't know if they're telling the truth or they're lying. And then, so if you want to sell that way, you go right ahead, but you're going to be arm wrestling a lot at the end. And you're going to have to try to find some snappy overcoming objections, handling method to try to overcome that. But now you're arm wrestling with them. Why do that? There's a very simple way you could solve this problem. Right before you get to the presentation, if you've gone ahead and properly qualified them, meaning you've established what the problem that exists and that they want solved, you establish that they're qualified to be in the conversation as far as approving the process, as far as that goes. Excuse me. And then you've also qualified them on their time frame. So the next piece is to simply qualify them on the price range. By this point, you should know a price range based on the problems you uncovered and agreed upon. You should know your service or your solution well enough to know what the minimum and the maximum price range is. So it's very simple. Before you start the demo, you confirm problem, their role, time frame, right? Now you simply go, Mr. Prospect, assume for a moment we have something that you decide you want to move forward with, and the price is going to be between XYZ and ABC, right? Or you do it backwards, ABC and XYZ, right? So let me just give you a real example. So based on what you told me, Mr. Prospect, your price is going to be anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. It won't be any less than $5,000, it won't be any more than 10. I guess my question to you is this: if you end up liking what we have to offer and you decide you want to move forward with it, is that doable for you? Is that within your price range? You're only going to get one of three answers: yes, no, or maybe. If it's a yes, great, green light. You don't have to talk about it anymore. Because guess what? When you go for the close, they can't say it's not in the budget, right? And you want to do this before you give a presentation, because if you've built the pain point up enough and you got them salivating that, yes, this is a problem, I want it solved, I am the decision maker, I'd like to get it solved within this time frame, guess what? They want to hear your solutions. So you have the cards in your hands where you can say the price can be between this and this. If you decide you want to move forward with it, if you like what we have to offer, is that doable for you? You're going to get one of three answers: yes, no, or maybe. If it's a yes, great. You've taken that objection off the table. Now you don't have to deal with it anymore. That's a smarter way to sell. I don't know why so many people don't do it this way. Okay, I've made so much money doing it this way. I don't have to be a great salesperson. I just have to follow these basic steps, and all of a sudden I'm closing a ton of deals because I'm putting things in the right order. Okay, now if they say no, it's very simple. I respond this way. When you say no, listen, there's two types of no's. There's no, I couldn't afford that if my life depended on it. And then there's the no, I think I might be able to find a just as good a solution or maybe even one better for less elsewhere. Which no are we dealing with here? If they go, no, I can't afford it, yeah, if my life depended on it, guess what? They're not qualified. You're selling, let's just say you're selling Ferraris and they need to go down to the used Kia lot, right? Okay, they're not qualified. Your job as a sales rep is not to close every prospect you come across. It's not your job. Your job is to close as many qualified prospects as fast as possible, right? So if they're not qualified, they say no, and then you run that play that I just shared with you, right? There's two types of no's, and they go, no, I couldn't afford my life depended on it. No problem. Doesn't make sense for us to do a demo. If something for change, please reach out to us. I think we have a solution that will definitely help you, right? Now you do a takeaway. See if they come back. Now, if they say, no, I think I might be able to get something, just as good elsewhere, maybe even better for less, I go, you know what, Mr. Person, you might be able to. I don't know. I guess my question is this, is once you learn about ours and then you do all your research and your homework, if you make the decision that our solution is the one that you want and it's between this price and this price, is it doable for you in that scenario? And if they go, well, yeah, in that scenario it is, okay, great. Well, let's just do this. Let me just tell you a little bit about it. I'll answer any questions you have. And if you like what you hear, we can just take it from there. Fair enough? Okay, and now you're good to go. Now, what happens if they say, well, maybe it could be? Maybe and could be is not an answer. Don't accept that, right? So when you say maybe, how do you mean? Like maybe if you hit the lottery tomorrow, or maybe meaning if you really like our solution, you think it's the best one for you, the right fit for you? Well, yeah, if I think it's the right solution for us, it's doable. Okay, that's all I'm asking. Sounds good. So let me do this. Let me just tell you a little bit about it. I'll answer any questions you have. If you like what you hear, we can take it from there. Fair enough? Okay, and now you're ready to do the presentation. You're not going to have to hear, and if you did everything else right, you won't hear, I got to check with my boss, it's not the right time, it's not in the right, we don't have the budget, etc. This is just a simple way to sell. I don't know why so many people don't follow this process, but the ones that do make a lot of money and they do it a lot easier. Hope this helps.